Welcome to the TechIsland podcast powered by Payabl. I'm Tanya Romanyukha and I am General Manager of TechIsland, and I'm an expat who chose Cyprus to live and work.
And I'm Artemis Pnevmatikou. I am the head of PR and communications at TechIsland. I am a local who left and decided to come back to work and live.
Together, we reflect what TechIsland is about. Locals and expats working together to transform Cyprus into a tech hub. And through this podcast, we are analyzing what exactly is a tech island, tech hub, and how it impacts our everyday life.
In today's episode, we're exploring what it takes to turn an idea into a successful business right here in Cyprus. We'll talk about the local entrepreneurial scene, how it has evolved, the challenges startups face, and the resources that can help founders grow and scale.
And today's episode is probably about the company you actually know and use every day, and you don't even realize how close this company is within your everyday lifestyle. Think of the last time you ordered food, groceries, and they showed up in 15 minutes. In startup world, it's called quick commerce, right? And we are talking today to the guys who were first entrepreneurs who started to build in this field a company. But what's the real story behind it? In 2015, two entrepreneurs started to build this platform right here, right in Cyprus, or even earlier than 2015. We will now figure this out. And it happened even before startups became a big thing in Cyprus, although it was all over the news in the world. And actually, 2015 is venture capital boom and peak of the venture capital investments in Silicon Valley. 4 years later, this company was sold to Delivery Hero, and this company is Foody. And today we're speaking with people who were behind this journey, who built the company, Michael Economou and Argyrou. This is an honor to have you with us. We envisioned when we were thinking that we want to speak with tech entrepreneurs. We wanted to speak with you. You're first beginners who kind of created this startup vibe in Cyprus. You made it successful. It's maybe the first time you together, right? talk to us in a podcast. So it's a big honor for us. So welcome.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us. Maybe before we dive in, maybe you can each tell us a little bit about who you are, the person behind the entrepreneur. Michalis?
Hello, Tanya. Hello, Artemis. Thank you, first of all, for inviting us. And yes, I think this might be the first ever time that we come together at the podcast or being publicly seen together or something like that. I don't know.
There was even a rumor at some time that we were the same person, just changing appearance.
Yeah. We heard that a lot of times. And yeah, I mean, I'm Michael. I come from Greece. I live here in Cyprus the last 13 years. My family is here. My entrepreneurial activity is here. I love the country. I love the way that you're building things here, at least compared to Greece. It gives me a better, landscape of doing and building things and operating. Yeah, we built some kind of startup companies with Argyris back then. Foody was one of them, a successful one. Now building other stuff. What else do you want to know about me? I like off-roading and several other things. Yeah.
Argyris?
Thank you both. I am Argyris. It's complicated other than that. Along with Mike and the team, we we started in 2011, I think, and we launched a company that launched at your service, and through a very long journey full of ups and downs, had lots of fun, built Foody.
So how did you two meet then? Tell us the whole story from the beginning. How did it all start?
It's important to note that we didn't know each other before we collaborate together. I mean, Argyris back then was a solo founder. He was working on prototyping to different startup projects, and just before launch he wanted help, so he did something like a super crazy post back then that he was looking for a startup administrator. That was 2012. And I think that at that point in Cyprus, people didn't know the word startup. I mean, they didn't even know what this means. It just happened that I had some previous very small experience coming from Greece to Cyprus the same year. So I thought, this guy must be super, super crazy. And then we met, and this proved to be true, I guess. So two crazy people came together. I think from my perspective that we immediately make fantastic fit from the first days, and we start working together into launching things and building and testing things very fast.
Yes, it's actually, 2015, there was already Uber and Airbnb and Slack and Delivery Hero, yes? So it was the time when global startups were in shine, but not actually in Cyprus. And as you very correctly said, not many people even understood what is this startup, what is this unicorn. So it's interesting to understand what was Cyprus like for someone trying to build a tech company back then.
If I may build on what you're saying, we started on 2012.
So
even earlier.
Actually, 2011.
And maybe Argyris wants to share the story from that point of view, starting building at your service and the whole ideas to life vision.
So before the crisis, before even the crisis when...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unrelated, or I can't even place it in our journey. So 2011, it was, I didn't really know what the startup word meant, and it wasn't mainstream anywhere. Like when I decided to sort of quit my previous job and try to build something, it had nothing more than the belief that there must be a better way of doing things. So I quit my job and I started working on, as Mike said, a few projects, a few prototypes, and trying to develop them, outsourcing them. One of them was at your service, which we later launched in 2012. And that was our big project. That was our first actual startup that sort of was the basis for everything.
What did it do? Want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so all the pitches. So at your service was an online marketplace for local services. Anything you wanted, from photographers to plumbers or even tutors and lawyers. You would join the site, write what you need, and get 3 offers. We launched that, as we said, in 2012, with just the belief that there must be a better way of doing things. Now, as time went by, we started realizing, this thing exists in other countries. And as you said, in 2013, TaskRabbit raised something like 500 million in the US. There was the UK and the Germany versions of it. But our metrics, we read what they wrote, and our key metrics were better. Like, we were growing faster, we had better award rates, better. So we started digesting the idea of a startup, and what if we could take this internationally? Not into the US and the UK, which had strong established players, but we said, okay, maybe we can get tier 3 countries, launch in Europe, Middle East, and Africa areas. So even before we introduced our revenue model, we expanded our operations into Greece, and we started speaking with investors, and our understanding was that if we could replicate that in Greece and if we could validate our revenue model, we would get an investment to then try and expand into first establish Greece and then expand into something like Italy, Poland, and Egypt, 3 completely different markets, to see if we can make it there and, then take over the world. But then we launched our revenue model, and we had on the wall, we had 118. We were expecting to have 118 subscriptions, and we get 10. And we say, no, this is bullshit. It's our pricing page. We need to change it from PayPal to whatever. We need to change the color from blue to red. So we spent the next 3 months denying reality. Reality was we didn't have product market fit. So we then had to cut back on everything. We had a team of 6 at that point. We had operations in Greece. We only had 30,000 euros in the bank. So essentially, our runway was, after the changes, we had a runway of 6 months, and we said, okay, we're doubling down, and we will make this profitable in Cyprus. We will start breathing, and then we will see. 9 months later, it was the first month that we would make €1 more than we spent. It was the first month that we would be cash flow positive. Said, okay. At that point, we were traveling a lot, trying to see what they were doing internationally. And our model had run out of money. Like, none of our competitors were able to make it big in their countries. And one thing they were doing were media to equity deals. So we said, okay, we'll do the same in Cyprus. And now that we have everything figured out, I told them, don't worry, I got this. I never say that like that. I will, don't worry, I got this. So I go to a meeting, try to make that happen. It takes 2 minutes to get a no. It was the 100th no that we got from investors or whatever we got at that time. But in that meeting, between minute 2 and 60, came up the idea of doing Foody. And Foody, a marketplace for food ordering, was something that we always joked that we would do. Because we all lived abroad, we all ordered from similar platforms. Yes, in 2015, there was the acquisition in Turkey of
Yemek Sepet.
Yemek for 487 million, something like that, 500 million.
Crazy money.
Crazy money. It was acquisition in Greece, which was closer to home for 17 million, and it was figures that didn't make sense to our mind there. So that through that meeting, it came an opportunity to collaborate and our team to launch Foody. So that was the first.
It was someone from investors who kind of advised, who made you this hint.
We started. Foody started as a sort of partnership. The media group, the Ideas Media Group, had a stake in Foody initially. That most of that was later acquired back by us, and so this was launched that way. But the key point is that we learned from our previous experience, and we always said that we will do this, but we were never sure. So after that, we said, okay, we've learned that we can get customers, we've learned that we can build marketplaces, but our restaurant's gonna pay us. Like, we've had the same problem with subscriptions. So what do we do? So it was a Friday afternoon meeting when we said we have 1 month to get 20 restaurants on board. This is our actual contract. We bought a domain, foodcynow.com. We bought a WordPress theme for $29 and said, Mike, Argyris, you have a month to get 20 good restaurants on board. If you get 20 restaurants by the end of the month, we'll build the project. If not, we will not go out of our way to build something for a year to get no's later.
Do you remember the first restaurant who signed up?
So yes, I do remember the first restaurant. So what happened is that this same night, we go with Argyris, we take the car and we go outside and we go inside 10 restaurants. And we start pitching to them that this is what we're going to build. We're going to build a platform that is going to bring orders to you. And we want commission rate by you. That was a super crazy idea for us. The motto, the tagline of At Your Service before Foody is that we don't even know how it is spelled, commission word. So
that was front and center in the website of At Your Service. We can't even spell commission.
We can't even spell commission, yeah. So we've gone to 10 restaurants and we say to them, you want to partner with us? And to our surprise, all 10 of them wanted to work with us. So I very vividly remember when we finished those 10 restaurants this night, Argyris is getting inside the car and he's like, whoa, Mike, tomorrow we start building this. So the rest, I mean, from that moment, in a month's time, we had our first order.
Wow.
That was it.
Yeah,
And
I think that was the next Friday. One Friday we decided, and the next Friday we went, we got 10 restaurants, we said, stop messing around. Let's focus here.
yeah, exactly.
And
Amazing. But what you did very well, I mean, you went exactly to the customers. You went in the field, not building from the scratch something out of your imagination, replicating from somewhere, but you went exactly to the field to your future customers to get the interest.
Yeah, we were suffering for 3 years without product market fit. So then we knew that you validate product market fit
Before you.
as soon as you can. And it's such a different feeling. Like startup life is always rolling like a big rock uphill. When you have product market fit, it's downhill. And it was the first time after 4 years at the time that we were rolling downhill.
0 lines of code back then. A WordPress thing.
WordPress thing. So to continue with the Hollywood story.
we love those. It's okay.
Yeah. So when we decided to launch this, there were 0 competitors. On the day that we launched, there were 10. One of them had what we think was 500 orders per month back then, Delivery Man, which was a lot at that time. One of them was Delivery Hero, which had infinite budgets. That was in September of 2015. That was our official launch year.
So how long did it take from the initial idea until the launch?
We told them that we'll be ready in 3 months because that's what we committed. We started taking orders 3-4 months later, but the live was, I think, 6 or 7 months. It was probably, 6 or 7 months later, the launch. And at launch, we had 10 competitors. And that was a crazy period from September until March. At March, we had 70% of the market. So from launch to March, we went from 0 to 70% of the market. And after that, it was sort of smooth. It's never smooth, but we continue growing up to 95% of the market for the next 2-3 years. 2 years. And then on a day that I was always doing 1 day of business development per month, which I see what companies in other countries did and tried to understand what they were doing, where they were going, copy them. We weren't even daring to dream about an acquisition at that point. I was doing International Business Development Day, and I get up at 10 minutes after 9 or something like that in the morning. So in a company between 9 and 12 in the morning, nobody speak to anyone. Nobody would speak to anyone. Like, if the server wasn't down, you didn't get up and speak to anyone for no reason. So I get up and grab Mike, grab Haji Sarah, their co-founder and CTO, and tell them, something's going on here. Just acquired companies that are smaller than us, in small markets like ours. And we never planned about it, we never thought about it, but this might actually be the time, if we want an acquisition, to sort of go for it. And I think that was October, and we had our first term sheet by December.
So it was October 2019.
Yeah.
And you got
October 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Yes, 2018.
Yes.
Correct. But wait, when you started Foody and you had already this experience of building startups, failing, doing something else, I mean, you haven't imagined building global company, selling it to someone bigger. You didn't have this vision. You wanted to scale yourself.
So again, if you start in the ecosystem in 2011, you're always sort of brought up to think nobody's gonna ever look in Cyprus. Like, there was zero interest from anyone in Cyprus. So initially, we didn't even dare to dream about that. As we grew and understood what other countries were doing, we would see, oh wow, You know,
There is a possibility.
There is.
We have amazing metrics.
yeah, and
We
Foody
can
was
try.
actually much bigger than
Competitors. from other
competitors
countries.
in much bigger countries because the per capita orders is much higher in Cyprus. So I think the first time that it became more than a dream, more than a teenager dreaming what they would do when they get old is on that day when we said, okay, there's an acquisition spree for the first time for smaller companies.
Before we move to the acquisition, I want to take you a little bit back. You said you managed to get to 70% of the market. I want to understand what made you get there. Because, for example, my experience with Foody, I knew you maybe before Foody, we exchanged a couple of emails, so I knew your name, right? And I remember I ordered from Foody back then, and something went wrong with the delivery. And I received an
always
email from Argyris saying, Artemis, I would like to know what happened. You didn't know who I was, obviously. Just, Artemis, I want to know what happened. I was like, the founder of the company is sending me an email to ask me what went wrong. So tell us a little bit about that, because I think customer service is something you took very personally.
Yeah, we did. Mike, want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. And I think, from my point of view at least, that first of all, we did have great experience of managing and operating a marketplace, an operational marketplace in the country, in Cyprus. So we...
At 10 times harder marketplace.
At your service was much harder than Foody. It was super crazy harder, okay, to run. So I think at this that was our first advantage. We knew the realities of the country already. And at this point, there was a disadvantage we had that possibly, I'm quite sure about it right now, has proved to be one of our most fundamental competitive advantages. The other platforms were more sophisticated technically than ours. They were ready. They were mature platforms with proper order transmission tools and automations and machines and emails and tablets and things like that. We didn't have these things. I mean, we just launched, and Argyrou, our other CEO and co-founder, I mean, he was importing Excel sheets to the database so we get live menus, for example. At this point, there wasn't any kind of order transmission method for Foody. So what was happening is that when Artemis was placing an order at Foody, I was receiving an SMS on my mobile phone, and I was actually calling the restaurant to give this order, okay? And this is how we did it because we didn't have any other method back then. What was happening is that the other bigger platforms, they were doing orders, they were receiving orders from real customers, that they were being lost because the restaurant partners, they were not properly trained, there was no such volume to have the right to their email, to the machine, they didn't know how to use the machine. While we were there calling the restaurants, controlling the process, and you know what is happening? 30 minutes after, you call again the restaurant. Hello, Mr. Kostas, is everything okay with the order? Have you sent the order to the customer? And then 30 minutes later, has the customer, is everything okay with the order? The customer as well. So I think that these were some crucial months that other platforms, actually, they could not send the orders. People were ordering, but the orders were not going, while our orders were actually going to the customer. And at least from my point of view, this proved to be a critical point to the first month, defining this competitive landscape.
And what about all the presents that you gave people if they didn't deliver, they didn't get their order?
I mean, Argyris within our team was always a huge advocate of the wow experience. We were always trying to deliver the wow experience. And if you combine that, maybe Argyris wants to talk more about it, but if you combine that with a super sophisticated email system we had, this is a system we had built for at your service. It was fully functional. It was, for that years, it was state-of-the-art CRM and email communications that we built on our own. We joke many times that that was the startup we should have been launching globally. It was a huge opportunity back then. So many semi-automated or automated communications by Argyris, getting in touch with the customers, speaking with the customers, the same thing with the restaurants, that constant communication, honest and genuine communication to learn from them, I think was something that gave us fuel back then.
I think I can summarize this very nicely. So there's a reason I say the story. We launched 10 competitors, 70%, and it's a bit provocative. The answer is 1,000 small battles. Mike described 2 or 3 of them. We have 1,000, literally 1,000 across all areas. Why did we win those 1,000 battles? Because we had a team that had been working together, learning together, screwing up together, like doing everything in extremely hard mode for 3 years. So we hit the ground running. It's not that we were smarter or we had more sophisticated tools than theirs. We did not. But we had a great team working together for 3 years, and we accelerated every day. And that acceleration, that compound interest, it's a huge force, and that's what we had.
This is an amazing summary. And actually, you were customer-oriented first.
Yes.
And not technologically oriented. And this is also, I feel, one of the important insights for younger entrepreneurs, for first-time entrepreneurs, that it's not the product first, but the need first, demand first, customer experience first. And this is a great example.
Yeah.
And what was actually the hardest part in this entrepreneurial journey? Is it finding this right set of the team who can work together in this cohesion, hardly accelerating and achieving results? Was it convincing restaurants or talking to investors? What was the hardest part?
We've had the hardest part was, every day 10:01 and then again 11:03 or whatever. It was 20 times a day. So at least mine, but the whole team's, my emotional over time graph goes like this. Like at 9 o'clock, I believe I'm the best person in the world. I will conquer the world. At 9:03, I believe I'm the biggest idiot in the world and everything is going to crash. And that kept happening day after day, year after year. We've been through a lot. And as I said, we started the first few years in super hard mode. I think the hardest part is persistence, like getting up every day, every hour and doing the same thing. Like you screwed up big time today, tomorrow is another day, you get up and do it. How do you do that, or how do you accomplish that? You need the team. You need the team around you, because there's a day that I can't get up, but the others pick me up. And you also need a good team that sort of takes care of the mental health of everyone. Like you build an environment, a culture. So the biggest thing we build is a culture. It's nothing else, not Foody at your service or culture. You build a culture that continuously improves, continuously helps everyone, go in the direction you want to go.
I have goosebumps. I have also great.
We're going to cut that.
But this is true.
And guys, you mentioned that it was never about going global, right? It wasn't like the first thing on your mind. But there are many people who come to Cyprus and their thought is to launch from here and scale globally. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's challenging? Is there something that needs to change to do that?
My personal opinion is that there is a lot of rationale in this kind of thought process. I would recommend to people that are considering those expansions, first of all, there is a key point. I consider that Cyprus is a fantastic testing market. You can build things here, you can test them, you can iterate on them, you can improve them, and has a lot of similar characteristics with other more mature markets with bigger size. The only thing that I would recommend is that in such cases, I would recommend go faster, go outside faster, do some iterations and some validations faster. And I would see that I'm seeing some kind of partners. I'm going to launch this on Foody, and this is the next specific country that I'm going to go. And usually I'm seeing some failing points there. I mean, think bigger, think broader, target more markets, be faster on that. Especially today, I would think the world is so interconnected. The limitations are much more less before COVID. Just try things outside. Build things here and go outside. This is what I'm recommending to people.
Okay, let's come back to the point of Delivery Hero is acquiring different startups in different geographical points, geographies. So how did it happen? October 2018. Did you reach out to Delivery Hero? How you try to get their attention and prove that it's worth considering Cyprus?
Another good story that it's helpful to sort of future startup founders to see how all things tie together 10 years later. You just have to see it out. So when we launched At Your Service, we keep going back to that. Initially, we said we will, after we discovered the startup world, and after we tried to take it At Your Service internationally.
We launched
internationally, yes.
We often forget that. I mean, I even forget it before we start, but we launched Greece with At Your Service.
Yeah. So before even launching Greece, we said we will be part of the international startup scene. So we traveled to Greece often and other countries and tried to go to events, trying to meet people, trying to network. So back then, it was the first days that the Greece startup ecosystem was being built. It was zero in 2012, and by the 2018 that this came up, it was a really big ecosystem. So we said, okay, what can we do? I said, I will travel here and we will do this and whatever. And the first thing we did, like the next weekend, it was me and Mike went to Greece there was an event or something to network there, try and, show that we're doing work without showing it so that it can, come back to us and open a conversation about it. We went to Greece, we failed to do what we tried to do, so we tried to arrange some meetings or meet the Greek team, the eFood team, we failed. But there we met another team and another investor that Mike reached out to before, and they said, we want to come to Cyprus. So then, okay, next month come and do an event at our offices. At that event, there were other people from the ecosystem, and one says, we'll have a person from the Netherlands, from a major publication next week. I'll bring them to your offices. It's like the first real startup thing we have in Cyprus. We said, perfect. And, Robin comes to the office, she looks around, and says, wow, this is as good a startup as I have ever seen. And what do? We speak to him and say, wow, impressive. Do you speak to the big guys? And we're, yes, do you speak to them or no? Who do you want to speak to? Jitse? Niklas? Yes, that would be great. Okay, intro.
Wow.
Reply in 1 day, reply in 3 days. So, yes, it was, again, completely run. You can do 100 things, and 2 of them will work, and you have to double down and take advantage when they do, but you have to also keep doing 100 things. And in the meantime, I told you one trip we did or one net that we cast 100 of them, and they were all helpful again in the negotiation stage because we had other options, and because negotiations do become difficult, you need to have other options and alternatives if it's competition time.
and how it worked with negotiations. I mean, acquiring a company, you're a young startup. How many of you were together as a team?
80 at that point.
The whole Foody team back then was 43.
43 on acquisition day, yes.
43 people, okay?
Shareholders.
Yeah,
Shareholders.
yep.
What did everybody do? I mean, what kind of jobs were you?
43, and all of them had what options? Shares?
Yes,
Stock options?
yes. Every single one of them. I mean,
You are generous founders.
how can you be so successful if the whole team is not part of building something bigger? If there is not skin in the game for those people, if you are not generous to these people, I mean.
So who helped you with negotiations process with Delivery Hero for an acquisition, and how long did it take you to reach the deal when you feel that it's worth to sell it?
So, in general, we tend to reinvent the wheel, and I personally tend to reinvent the wheel every time, so I will not go with standard practices. So the negotiation was mostly done by us, except the legal stuff. We got the first term sheet in December, late December, I think, and it was good. And then it took us, the closing was July, I think. So it took us 6 months of negotiation, which were sort of intense because for us it was the biggest thing ever, and for them it was a rounding error of a subsection of the Southern Europe section, whatever. So the biggest challenge was that we were not important enough to even get time. If something happened in another market, they told us, okay, we'll speak in another month or so. Yeah, it was a normal negotiation. The key point is, I think, we know that our metrics are amazing. So Delivery Hero as a whole was losing $1.5 billion a year, and we were profitable at that point. So they had 70-something countries, and like 5 were profitable, something like that. And we were profitable in a very small markets, and our growth was very high. So essentially, it was simple to structure the deal because the key part of the deal, it was an amount today plus an amount based on the results of next year. It was 100% growth, revenue and profit, and then another amount based on 120 and 100, and then 180 growth for the year after that. So it was, I wouldn't say it was anything specific on the negotiation. It was just actually keep Cyprus on track because it was so small and could fall off.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened after the acquisition?
After the acquisition, so well, we had the earnouts, which we discussed, a lot during the negotiation, and it was also very good for us. So we had also some other options besides Delivery Hero, not as good, but from the beginning, we knew that we wanted to join the Delivery Hero team because essentially we had been running for so many years at that point, and we were doing things, we were reinventing the wheel, as I said before. It falls together now. And we wanted for the first time to see what the big teams are doing. Like, imagine what kind of analytics they would be doing. Like, can you imagine how much automation there is in their menu? That's what we thought, again, like 12-year-olds dreaming. And after the acquisition, we were very happy to join the group and learn from them. And we also had the management of the company like exclusively for the next 2 years. And our task was to make Foody part of the group, but actually run it. We had the decisions in the end. So one of the first things we realized, and I realized this is going to sound arrogant, but that's actually the truth, is we were building things much better than we thought. Like, we would see we're doing 100 things wrong here, and we would see other countries and they would have even less automations than us, or they would do things in ways that didn't make sense. And that was a big learning at the beginning. And then COVID happened. And COVID was a crazy time because essentially we were at the center of everything. Like today we were discussing how to keep the server from going down, and tomorrow we were adding the first supermarket. That's a real story. So at that point, Delivery Hero was very helpful because they didn't tell us what to do, but they told us what is happening in other countries. So that country puts supermarkets and this happened. These are the rates that you negotiate. This is how you do it. That was extremely helpful for us. We wouldn't have been as courageous on our own. Like, we would be very much slower to do things if we had all the risk on our own, or if we didn't have the reassurance. But at the same time, what we learned is that we would have a leadership meeting in Delivery Hero. We would say, it was Wednesday afternoon, we decide to do that. On Thursday lunchtime, we would send an email to everyone saying we implemented it. And the next country would be 2 weeks later. Now, this is not because we were so good. It was because our scale allowed. If you have a huge platform, your development process it takes 2 weeks to take something live. So we were at the sweet spot that we were a very small team that could be extremely agile, took advantage of the million changes that happened in COVID, took advantage of the support, the encouragement, the sharing of knowledge that we had from Delivery Hero. And, we ran the company for the next 2 years in our own way, but, having the best of all worlds.
Yeah, leveraging the support of big group. But I assume that rolling out that fast and being so agile and having smaller market, was it this kind of testing ground, as Michael mentioned, also for Delivery Hero and other countries? I mean, back then, during COVID, did they leverage this advantage that you guys already implemented something, and other countries, while they're doing, they already can learn from your mistakes? Was it this kind of knowledge transfer within such a huge group in the markets?
Yes and no. We would implement things very fast, so we would share the results back and everyone would learn from them. But at the same time, we were sort of small enough, or the plans were clear, and we had, so you mentioned quick commerce before. The direction was clear that we were to move in that direction, and we were, 20 steps behind, and we had to catch up to those steps instead of, lead the way. And some of the stuff, like we had automations or stuff like that other countries didn't have, but we were too small and our platform was different. So it was we were just too insignificant to transfer knowledge into that.
And when did you guys exit? After it was, you ran it for a few years, and then?
Argyris stayed with the company for 2 more years after the acquisition. Then I stayed for 4 more years, and then I think it was time for us to do other things, to relax and take rest, first of all, build new ventures right now. Argyris?
Yeah, that's it.
What do you do now? You want to share?
So I am building my next company. It is called Excite. It is a marketplace for activities and experiences, like safari excursions, boat trips, and private dining experiences. So we're doing that, focusing on Mediterranean countries mostly, and building as well some tools for our customers, our providers, our experience providers. And what is fundamental again is to Excite company and our team, ex-founder, ex-Foody employees right now at Excite, is that we really like building on a similar philosophy and culture like we were doing on Foody at your service, ideas to life. So the key fundamentals are there, and so I'm glad that I'm back to that kind of founder mode and build those things.
So you are enjoying it?
Every single day, every single day, every single day.
Argyris?
Tough one. So when the reason I stopped my work at Foody was that I wanted a sabbatical. Like I enjoy taking like I always wanted every 5 or 10 years to take 6 months off and, rethink everything and do whatever. And I did that. I had lots of stuff that I wanted to dive deeper into. And I said, okay, that's what I'll do for 6 months. Dive deeper without without scope, without like forbidding myself to actually build something. 6 months turned into 2 years doing that. Like the rabbit holes were deep and I would just keep going deeper and deeper. And then since then, we have major breakthroughs in AI. So I probably find myself playing with AI and exploring different. So probably the third year I spend most of my time around health, and the last year I'm spending around coding with AI today, like with the absolute latest technologies and how it's done optimally. And I'm doing that without a purpose. I'm doing it just because it's fun and,
I have a random question, but there is a point to it. What is your background? Like, what did you study? Because you both have a very structured thought process. So I want to see what.
What would you guess?
Engineer, something.
Economics.
Economics.
Okay.
Tell
Okay.
us.
So, for me, all my studies, bachelor degree and master was a combination of technology and business. My background is business with very deep understanding of technological aspects. Okay?
And Argyris?
Yeah, I'm business as well, but I've always jumped between the two worlds. So my actual undergrad degree was decided by a coin toss between computer science and business, and I would do the other as a master. And
a typical set which investors are suggesting for startup teams, it's a technical guy, hustler, the one who does business development and all this kind of stuff, and another more deep operational guy who can build systems and whatever. Did you follow this set, or how did you design your main core team?
It sounds to me like I wouldn't say we fit exactly that kind of pattern, and it sounds to me like we're putting, hats and labels to successful entrepreneurs. And from my point of view, maybe this is not the message we would like to pass out there to younger entrepreneurs. My advice would be go out there, try things, try doing partnerships with other people, do what you're doing well, what you're doing where someone else can do something better than you. Always try to surround yourself with smarter people than you. And apart from this, there are some fundamental things that need to be done. You need to speak with the customers, for example. Why is it a taboo that an engineer or a developer cannot speak with a customer? He can't speak with customers. Okay. Why is it not usual today that a business guy is writing code today or is building UI interfaces using AI specifically? So my point here is that you need to get things done one way or another.
And
someone has to do them.
Yeah.
And not sticking to frameworks and typical.
We did have a fantastic team, a world-class team, including Argyrou, our CTO.
We did have a world-class team, yeah.
We did have challenges. When we found always the best ways to tackle those challenges. Maybe sometimes we're Argyris, maybe sometimes it was Michalis. We joked before starting that we don't go together to public occasions and things like that. Why? Because we thought that was such waste of resources. Why should Argyris and Michalis go together to the same place? If one goes, it's okay. The other one does something else. While Argyris was getting the server back live. That was the usual case. Yeah.
Okay, so while building and selling Foody, what kind of support did you find or wish you had found in the local ecosystem?
So again, we launched very early. There was no notion of the startup world at the beginning. Then there was the first few events in the ecosystem, which were amazing. Like we met people that were going through the same thing or having the same thoughts or doing the same things that we didn't know existed. And do you remember what years was that? Maybe 2013 or something, the first startup live weekend, whatever that is.
It was 2013, yes,
Yeah.
2013.
So at the beginning, it was essentially discover everything by yourself, but that's life. That's even if you're doing it in Silicon Valley, you still have to discover everything by yourself because, there is a playbook there, but a million people are doing it. Mm-hmm. What we had in Cyprus was access to great people. So we were different. We were the colorful, different thing in the side of the room. We were the only company in Cyprus essentially doing that. So we were able to put together with very little money a team of different people, misfits, that built what we said was a great team. And a big reason we were able to do this is because we have a lot of them in Cyprus, and there weren't many companies competing in the space that we were. So we were asynchronous and remote from, the second year. When our CTO came in, he was working asynchronously, and we said, okay, yes, we'll do everything asynchronously. And not every person, but every great person that joined our team, they shaped the team and they added to the culture and they made it even better. What challenges did we face from the ecosystem? Well, the obvious is lack of funding, but at the same time, your service was never a fundable idea, and no amount of funding would have solved that in hindsight. And we managed to make Foody work, and I think the lack of immediate funding is a challenge for new founders. So if you want to start and you have no way to get your first 200,000 or whatever to start, is a problem. But if you get that money easily and it's not good money that's connected to the next round, that's maybe a bigger problem because you don't know how to fundraise. Mm-hmm. So you need to get those 100 rejections anyway.
Okay, so what does it take Cyprus to create 10 another
Foodies.
Companies which could be acquired by bigger players or which can go to IPO?
10 teams that just want to do it. It's as simple as that. We have what's necessary. Obviously, the market it's not big, but why target the Cypriot market? If you're building something that requires tons of funding, of course you won't find that from Cyprus. If you want to do that, then you say, okay, I'll commit to traveling 20% of my time and I'll build, my network in London, I'll build my network in Berlin, and, once a month I will also go to Silicon Valley. And, I will travel 20% of my time. That's a drawback. These are the advantages I get for building it here. Really, nothing is in the way other than, people just deciding they will just do it.
Tanya, I would challenge your question, to be honest. I mean, we do have a perception that to be successful, you need to have your company got acquired by a bigger player. We need to change that mindset. We need to start thinking about building products and teams and businesses here that are going to be very, very big from here. And I'm convinced that this is possible. I really believe that. It's not the ultimate goal of selling your company. Make it big enough.
100% agree.
Yeah.
And actually we have so many interests and companies and members who still have completely privately funded, which never planned to be sold. So it is true.
Maybe a good IPO for a startup company with something that would further boost, let's say, what is happening here. But even without that, I mean, let's aim for building great businesses.
And solve customers' problems.
Yeah. Yes.
Always.
You don't need a ton of cash to solve all problems. some problems require, hundreds of millions, maybe even billions if you're building the next AI model. That's okay. It's probably something you cannot do well from Cyprus. Like, you will not have access to hundreds of millions rounds of funding from Cyprus, even if with the best of networks. Not all problems require that. You can solve, major problems and become unicorn with, 10 million or even less. Like, okay, I'll take this opportunity. At this point of my life, I'm sort of in love with the idea of a 10-team unicorn. I strongly believe that today a team of 10 people could do much better than a team of 10,000 or 50,000 people and could build and will. There are many of them being built as we speak with 10 people. So if it's just 10 people you just need 10 great people and the rest you have it. You can do that from Cyprus. And then in 3 years it will be the one-person unicorn.
Guys, because what you're saying, I find it very inspiring, first of all, because it's not always, if we say it in a very populistic way, it's not about the money always, or it's not about the glory or going big or whatever, but it's about solving problems and making an impact. My 5-year-old son at the moment, when he wants to order food, he says, "Can we Foody?" How does that make you feel? Like, how does that make you feel that you actually created something that has such an impact? Nobody ever told you that? I can't be the first.
You're not.
That's a very personal and deep question, I would say. I mean, first of all, yes, it's nice and it feels good. At the same time, I mean, for me and I guess for Argyris, it's a long time ago, my Foody time. So we are at the present. So at the same time, we're focusing on the future, me personally, at least. And what I'm trying to say, it's that this is not what I'm thinking every single day when I wake up. It's something nice that happened. Let's move on to the next big things. Argyris?
Yeah. Like, the only thing I could add here that's valuable is actually what makes me smile the most is, I think 20 years ago there was a deeply ingrained belief that you cannot do that. And I think we've put a dent into that, not because of Foody and because I think, and we were public about it, and because we did things our own way, and we were loud about it, and it turned out that you can do things your own way. That does make me smile a bit more than the culture change, more so than the impact in terms of results.
Yeah, it's true. I think those first exits from the ecosystem, they actually give an impact and belief and serve as great examples for future starters, because all entrepreneurs, they're trying to find role models, and maybe you don't think about it, but I do believe that your example is actually a role model example for those who are starting even now, and that's a great impact. And this is a great example that you can do this from Cyprus, that you can build global company from Cyprus whenever you want to build it for your own and keep it running. Whenever you want to sell it or go to IPO, it's possible. I think this is the message which we also try to emphasize through TechIsland, that Cyprus is a tech hub, and it's possible to do great things from here. Any last question?
I wanted to ask you a little bit, as Tanya said before, the two of us reflect what we're trying to communicate also, that it's locals and experts working together to build a tech island. And you guys do too. So you've been through this journey. You've seen the ecosystem from the beginning. You've seen the change. how do you feel about it? What's the difference that you see, and how do you see it in the future?
I'm absolutely not the right person to speak about things because I usually talk about this with, friends and colleagues. All those years we were kind of, let's say, disconnected from what's going on. We were so deep
In your
working
bubble?
and focused on
Yeah,
what
on
we
our
were
bubble.
building. Yes, exactly. We are still being on our own bubbles, and what is happening is that we were not there to observe this. You cannot do something and observe this at the same time. This is a philosophical aspect. It's coming from Aristotle. These two things are completely contradicting. We were doing things, okay? So we were there to build things, and the best we could do, and we were always trying to do it, is keep our doors open so that younger people or other fellow entrepreneurs can freely come to us and discuss with us real challenges, real problems, get our advice, get our support on specific things. I think we were always averse of any kind of, huge super event or political things going around, but always very open to support other people. Right now, if someone emails Argyris, he's going to get a lot of effort and time from Argyris to get support. This is something we are investing time, not because we have to do this. It's because personally, I like giving back to the community. And speaking of TechIsland as well, I think you're doing fantastic work because there are great people here and they are getting out there. Many of them, we feel that are kind of stealth mode, you know what I mean? They are here in the country, super big entrepreneurs, super big names. We need to find ways to speak to them, learn from them, get support from them, okay? And this is not something we can do. It's not our job. Our job is to build companies. Our job is not to observe or build the ecosystem, okay?
This is what we do.
Yeah, that's our job. It's okay.
Exactly, exactly. So,
Do you invest yourself in startups?
Yep. Yeah. That's the obvious road. That's what most people do. But I do believe that if you want to be a good investor, you have to be a good investor, and that's a full-time job. And if you believe you can do it with 5 hours of work a month, you can be a good investor. You're a fool. And I choose not to be a fool on this. Maybe other hills I am.
occasionally I am doing some kind of angel investments, but I think I do it wrong. There are cases that I end up being so friendly with the other founders, and then it feels like, okay, I can just give you my time. Why do you need? Why do I need to take something back from you, like equity or something like that? So it's kind of contradicting, and yeah, I totally agree with Argyris that there is a lot of way as well for the whole community here and the country to mature on that aspect as well. We see a lot of stories from people that they think they can invest in a startup company and they are not ready for something like that. They need some kind of training. Why am I the right person? I don't think I am.
Well, maybe if you spend 6 months, you can become.
Whatever, but again,
Or if you surround yourself with the right network.
Yeah.
It's a matter of motivation and interest, as you very correctly said. If you want to become an investor and spend time on this, it's the same as you build a startup. You just dedicate specific amount of your time into finding the way, and you do it. You test it, fail, do it again, and yeah. But this is one of the aspects which definitely needs some ecosystem development, and it's interesting. From entrepreneurs who exited, who had this experience, who know how important to have access to funding. If this is one of the paths which you're considering.
it's very important. Access to funding is very important, and it has always been missing from the ecosystem. If we could have, there are signs that we're having our first funds, and if we could have good investors, not just money, but money that will help guide founders, that will make the process much easier. I mean, you can learn everything on your own, but you can learn it faster with good partners. So that's probably one of the biggest ways we can help the ecosystem, because we have lots of great people that want to do things. And I think the biggest gap is from people that want to do things or do things on the part-time and are on the idea plus stage, to the people diving in and giving it their full attention for a year. That gap is very big. I think our job is to close that gap. Funding will help, but it will not solve.
True.
Guys, this was a great pleasure and a great honor to have you both for the very first time.
The two of you.
The very first time. This is a inaugurational time.
It doesn't count. We're not working together
but
anymore,
you know
so it's
what?
not a waste of time.
If you decide to do it on an inspirational aspect and you decide to do these together, I think you should. It's a good new vocation for you guys. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you to Payabl, of course, for hosting us today. We will be back with more episodes very soon.
It was
Tanya?
a great pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure is ours. Thank you.